Hey loves, welcome back to my channel. My name is Latoya Ebony. If you're new, take a look around. I do natural hair care, fashion, vlogs. So if that's the kind of content that you like, don't side chick me. If you've been watching my videos, go ahead and subscribe, leave a comment, like, join the fam, because we would love to have you. So today's video is all about the dangers of protective styles. I had faux locks in my hair for 3.5 months. Yes, more details to come. But I want to talk about some of the dangers that we don't necessarily openly talk about because we focus so much on the positives of protective styles, but we do sometimes experience, the negative effects of improperly installed protective hairstyles or just the neglect that can come with it. So, if you want to get into that tea and learn also a few ways in which you can prevent or lessen the blow, go ahead and keep watching. So one of the most common dangers of having a protective style is the tension. Everybody knows, especially your hairline knows. When you do protective styles, you really have to pay attention to the areas of your hair that are fine, that are more prone to breakage, and just really don't handle tension well. For me, that is my hairline. And I think for the majority of people, their hairline, that's the place. The hair on my perimeters right here is very, very, very fine. I already have fine hair, but the hair here is like on another level and it's less dense. So there's just less hair to grab onto. And so any tension that's happening there, you already know when you start getting the little bumps and whatnot and it's red. And yes, we've all been there. At least the majority of us have been there. If you have not, consider yourself lucky, okay? If you are the type of person who does protective styles and you get a lot of tension on your hairline, really pay attention to that. Because if it's tight installing, over time, it's going to magnify, okay? I don't care. I don't really think that it's worth catching every little bit of hair in order for your hair to just fall out in the end. If you are the type of person who's gonna be adding hair, like I did with my faux locks, really try to maybe cut the amount of hair strands that you use, the added hair, in half and make that load a lot lighter for yourself. It's just not worth losing your hairline over the execution of a style. For me, I have been there, and even though I tried my best with my faux locks, I still suffered some hair loss on my hairline. So that also goes to say that maybe if I want zero breakage, I just won't add any hair. And I think that sometimes when we think about protective hairstyles, we automatically jump to adding hair, braids, twists, locks, whatever. And that this is also a protective hairstyle. So the majority of the year, I'm using my hair. Every once in a while, I will dip into the added hair pot, but I also understand that it's not necessary. So I think rethinking the technique in which you add your hair, as well as, giving your natural hair an option, letting that be an option. Speaking of added hair, that added hair can create a lot of friction. Now, imagine this. You have type 4 hair like me. You probably do if you're watching this video, right? My hair is already dry. It already has a matte look to it. It doesn't have a lot of slip to it naturally. And I prefer to wear hair most of the time that is closely resembling the hair that's on my head. I love my hair, and sometimes I just want a little more. There's nothing wrong with that. But imagine having two textures of like a dry, matte sort of feeling rubbing against one another. Insert the friction. Insert the possibility of it rupturing or raising the cuticle layer of your strands of hair. The only way that I can think of to prevent that is oil. Using the oil up. And I think that's why oil is so nice for a lot of protective hairstyles. I notice that when I do use oil, the hair, the added hair, it just slides out a lot easier. It doesn't get quite as matted. And so if you are a person who enjoys using oil in their hair, I'm just gonna say, it's there for a reason, might as well use it, you know? I recently did my faux locks and I didn't add any oil to my hair. And you know, I did notice in my takedown that it was a little, like I had to really kind of work at getting it out. Thankfully, I had braided my hair and so I didn't have like a ton of damage or anything. My hair was already kind of protected in that braid before I went and wrapped that lock around. But I can imagine that if my hair was loose under there may have been some unnecessary tension and breakage and friction. So, you know, I'm just saying, you guys, use the oil if you need to, okay? From time to time, when we're doing our protective styles, whether having added hair or not, it can lead to poor scalp hygiene. You know what I'm talking about, that person that has their braids in or whatever for like 6 to 8 weeks and they have not washed their hair because they're trying to preserve the hairstyle. And don't worry, I'm not gonna call you out. I'm not going to call you out, okay? Because when I was younger, there was this whole thing going around about protective styles and that, you know, your hair, what was it, dirt grows your hair? No, it does not. Low manipulation does. So I definitely understand the desire to not touch your hair because you want to really preserve that style and you want the least amount of manipulation as possible. However, yeah, I can't do it. I like washing my hair. I like washing my scalp, okay? I don't like having flakes. You know, I don't like itching all the time. I really don't, you know, and I don't like the smell. You know, the environment has smells and I don't like it in my hair. So I definitely recommend that you adopt a routine of washing your hair. And now one of the things that I've found that helped me with my faux locks is to dilute the shampoo and conditioner so that it can easily flow through, you know, your parts and kind of get more into the hair so that it doesn't get stuck. I think that that is such a good technique to use, and I recommend you adopt it, you know, and just being very gentle. You know, you don't necessarily have to like scrub and use your nails. Don't use your nails. Use the pads of your fingers and really just massage it, you know? That's what I did. I have a whole wash day video on washing my faux locks that is really good for people who have protective hairstyles. So I will definitely make sure to link that down below. Now this one, most people just, well, no one can avoid. And it is the danger of trapping your shed hair into your protective styles. Our hair sheds about 80 to 100 hairs a day. Yeah, that's a lot of hair. Now imagine going a week, even a week, with a protective style and you haven't combed your hair, which is what we tend to do, even if we're washing our hair within that week. You know, many of us, we don't take our hair down, and so that shed hair gets caught in whatever style it is, and it can cause a lot of knotting, a lot of friction, and you know, it's just, it could just really lead to breakage in the takedown. So what do you do to combat that, right? So first, it starts with choosing hairstyles that don't promote excessive tension on the hair, because there is the natural shedding of the hair and then there is the shedding that is unnatural and caused by tension. So if we can kind of cut down some of that tension as much as possible, that would be the place to start. Next, I'd say maybe try considering hairstyles that are a lot easier to take out. When I did the faux locks, there were a lot of them, and I was not particularly encouraged to take them out every week. I'm just saying, okay? That's why they were in there for 3.5 months. However, I did refresh at about the half mark, and so using or doing styles in which you can refresh What do I mean by refresh? I mean take it out and put it back in again. Even if you have to work in sections, y'all. When I was refreshing my hair, I think I took about 3 weeks to refresh, and I started in the front, then I did the middle, then I did the back. And that was like, it had everything looking pretty new. So by the end, they didn't even look that bad. But I did notice when I was taking down those locks that, you know, woo, especially the, you know, at the base, all of the dirt, all of the hair product, all of the shed hair really got caught. And so in the areas in which my hair were fine, I really had to be so gentle and so that I didn't basically rip all of my hair off. And then I still had a semi-lock forming. So, I mean, that just goes to show, like, none of us are exempt. We are definitely putting ourselves at risk doing these protective styles because our hair is naturally going to shed. It's naturally going to collect a little bit of debris. It's naturally going to do that. It may even try to lock on you. So maybe next time I'll do a style that is a lot easier to take out, like twists, or maybe larger locks or large twists, or just, you know, use my hair and wash it weekly like I usually do. I'm just saying, you guys, there are other solutions, and sometimes we're just not in the position, or we just don't feel like using those solutions. But you know, that's what this video is about. It's about making you aware so that you are more informed, you know, of all of the risks, and you can do preventative steps. And the last tip I will say is just make sure your hair is properly hydrated before and after you take out the locks. No matter what, there's a lot of manipulation that goes into putting the locks in and taking them out. So sometimes it's like, what's really being protected here? Because there's just so much manipulation that happens with putting them in and taking them out. The only thing we can really do to combat that is to just properly nourish our hair as much as possible before, during, and after. Keep the hair hydrated, keep it pliable, keep it flexible, use the products that make sense for you, have a light hand, and, you know, do your best. I mean, the goal is length retention. And so if every time we're taking it out, we're losing all of that length retention, it kind of defeats the purpose. Does it not? Thank you all so much for watching this video. If you have suggestions that can help people with protective styling, especially if you are someone who protective styles locks, especially if you're someone who protective styles a lot, you know, whether that's weaves, wigs, wearing, the best protective style, you guys, I think is a head wrap. I'm just gonna say it. I think head wraps are so good. They're so low maintenance, and you don't risk a lot of that stuff that's happening as long as you keep your hairline in check, okay? Maybe put like a little satin wrap or something. Head wraps are the bee's knees. With that being said, I'm going to sign out. Go ahead and check out shop.latoyaebony.com to get your mug or your t-shirts. And, you know, I'm gonna see you in a couple days. Check out my other videos right here, off to the side. Subscribe. Bye. Mwah.